welcome to Unity Spiritual Center, RGV, Sunday online service. Unity is a positive path for spiritual living. We are an all-inclusive community, and I like to think that we are very all-encompassing as well, because we take in various elements of different spiritual paths and combine it into one very unique perspective that we have. And so I'd like to welcome you again and say thank you for joining us this morning. And I'd just like to start with announcements. We have classes during the week. Now, one of them has already finished. That was a Monday morning one that Reverend Beverly was doing. I mean, the Monday evening one. But on Tuesday, we have at 7 o'clock what's called Let's Get Metaphysical class, of which I facilitate. And we watch various TED Talks and have some very interesting discussions. On Wednesday, I believe Reverend Jay from Bernie has one more class left, and one called Love 101. Thursday, there is an ARE group that Cindy from our center leads at 6:30, and then at 8 o'clock we have the collaborative meditation. So we invite you to join any of those classes. The links are on the website. They're also on the newsletter. Thank you. I would like to begin this morning with some positive words. I am in the presence and radiating the power here and now. In a state of peace, I recognize that no condition can cause me unrest. Peace is in my breath, flowing in my mind, throbbing in my heart, immersed in inner peace as well, and all is well with my soul. To seek to understand and appreciate others as I cultivate spiritual understanding, I am more open-hearted, open-minded. Each day, I open wide the doors to my heart so that I might live in peace with all people. I now demonstrate loving kindness and peace. Ponder upon those words and take them with you throughout your week. I'd like to continue with the invocation, which is shared throughout all the Unity Centers around the world. There's only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent.
How many times must the cannonballs fly? just doesn't see. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the
Join me now for Unity RGV Affirmation and Vision. Unity RGV is an expanding center of the Christ light, mighty to attract its good and radiate good to others. Centered in God, we express the indwelling Christ.
I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul.
As we start this time of inner reflection, let's begin by getting comfortable. Remove all objects from your lap, place your feet on the floor, and sit up comfortably in your chair. Relax the muscles in your face, shoulders, arms, hands, and fingers. Feel your hips, legs, feet, and toes relax as well. Release any areas of tension you feel in your body. Take a deep, centering breath. Slowly inhale, gently hold for a few seconds, and then slowly exhale. Repeat a few times. Focus on your inhalation and exhalation as you continue to relax your body. Gently breathe in and out. Just relax and breathe naturally. You now feel the increased sense of relaxation to your body with every breath. Feel calmness and peace wash over you. Now let's center our attention to the daily word for today, which is fearless. Our Bible verse is from Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 6, and reads, "Be strong and bold. Have no fear or dread, because it is the Lord your God who goes with you. He will not fail you or forsake you." Today's affirmation is, I am fearless as I live authentically. Let's say that together once. I am fearless as I live authentically. Our message reads, in the past, I may have hidden my inner light, afraid to be myself. I may have tried to please others by conforming to someone else's ideas of who I should be. I may have shrunk from an aspiration, feeling that I would fail in pursuit of my goal. I may have doubted the divine perfection at the core of my spiritual self, identifying with my perceived flaws and feeling small and inadequate. Today, I make a new choice. I choose to live fearlessly, drawing upon my faith to believe in myself, my imagination to envision my best life, and my understanding to know my divinity. Bold and brave, I am fearless as I live my life authentically, pursue my dreams, and express my divine nature. Now let's close our eyes and take these words and this affirmation into the silence.
I love the silence down in my soul. I love the silence down in my soul. I love the silence down in my soul, and the whole wide world is my home. I've got a new day down in my soul. I've got a new day down in my soul. I've got a new day down in my soul, and the whole wide world is my home.
Today's guest speaker is our own licensed Unity teacher, Michael Scales.
Good morning, friends. Today I'm going to begin a series of 4 lessons on a famous unity topic, a favorite unity topic, the 12 powers. Charles Fillmore sometimes referred to them as the 12 powers of man. Sometimes we now refer to them as the 12 powers of humanity or the 12 spiritual powers. But these are powers that are creative forces that we have enfolded within us as spiritual beings. So I'm going to do 4 lessons on these powers and cover 3 powers in each lesson. And the lessons are not going to be consecutive because we're coming into the holiday season here, so we're going to have holiday-specific lessons, of course, interspersed throughout. So these lessons will be covered over the next 3 or 4 months, maybe 1 lesson per month. So today is going to be the first of those lessons. And Charles Fillmore, of course we all know who he was, one of the co-founders of Unity, wrote, "Inherent in the mind of being are 12 fundamental ideas, which in action appear as primal creative forces. It is possible for a person to ally with and to use these original forces, and thereby cooperate with the creative law. But in order to do this, he or she must detach from the forces and enter into the consciousness of the idea lying back of them." That's from the book called The 12 Powers by Charles and Cora Fillmore. Reverend Fillmore identifies these primal creative forces as, and these are the 12, love, imagination, power, judgment, understanding, zeal, elimination, faith, life, order, will, and strength. So that's the full 12 powers. In today's lesson, we're going to cover the powers of faith, strength, and judgment. And they don't come in any particular order. I'm covering them in this order because a lot of the material I'm taking is from the Unity book, Heart-Centered Metaphysics, and that's the order in which the powers are presented there. So we're going to cover today faith, strength, and judgment. So let's just move right on into the first spiritual power that we're examining, which is the power of faith. And faith is the most instrumental power we use in shaping our world of affairs and is represented metaphysically by the disciple Peter. Yes, metaphysically, these powers are represented by the 12 disciples. So 12 powers, and each power is represented by one of the disciples. Faith is represented metaphysically in the Bible by the disciple Peter. Well, Charles Fillmore wrote, "Faith is the perceiving power of the mind linked with a power to shape substance. It is spiritual assurance, the power to do the seemingly impossible. It is a force that draws to us our heart's desire right out of the invisible spiritual substance." And we're going to talk a little bit about that, more about that in a moment. So faith is represented, of course, as I said, by Peter. And so what does he mean when he says the perceiving power of the mind? We sometimes think of faith as power whereby we make things up out of thin air, but that's not really the way it works. Faith is the power that allows us to perceive what it is that we want to bring into visible manifestation, but to perceive it before it has become visible. Faith is what allows us, in other words, to see with those spiritual eyes, with that spiritual vision. And then with that perception and our faith in it, we can shape spiritual substance into whatever it is we want to manifest. So what is spiritual substance? Well, in the Revealing Word, Charles Fillmore gives an explanation of this spiritual substance, or sometimes called divine substance. He says, substance is the divine idea of the underlying reality of all things. Substance is everywhere present, pervades all things, and inspires to action. It underlies all manifestation and is the spiritual essence, the living energy out of which everything is made. That bears repeating. That to me is the most important thing to understand about substance. It is the living energy, the spiritual essence or the living energy out of which everything is made. And even in physics today, we've come to the realization that matter is nothing but a manifestation of energy. So everything is made of energy. And we would go ahead in unity to say this energy out of which everything is made is spiritual substance. And it's infinite. It has no limitation. And we can shape it into whatever we choose. He says through substance, the attributes of being are expressed. And being with a capital B, as he often writes, is just another word for God. It sustains and enriches any idea that is projected into it. Spiritual substance sustains and enriches any idea that is projected into it. And so we project ideas into that spiritual substance through the power of faith. We perceive a mental image of what it is we want to manifest, and then we project that mental image into that infinite field of spiritual substance. And when our faith in that image becomes strong enough, spiritual substance sort of coagulates around it and precipitates into material manifestation. Divine substance, writes Charles Fillmore, is man's supply. Out of it he forms whatever he will according to his faith and understanding. By entering into the silence, acknowledging divine substance, affirming his faith and oneness with it, man becomes conscious of this substance. And the more conscious we become of spiritual substance, the better we become at manifesting things from it. And this brings us to one of my favorite explanations of substance, which is a good way to close out this idea, which is that beginning passage in Hebrews 11, which really explains how, in using spiritual substance to manifest what we want, we are mirroring the process by which God created and continues to always be in the process of creating the universe. So the writer of Hebrews says, "Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Indeed, by faith, our ancestors received approval. By faith, we understand that the worlds were prepared by the word of God, so that what is seen is made from things that are not visible." So through the power of faith, we make things out of that substance that is not visible. The power of faith. The second spiritual power that we'll examine is strength. The spiritual power of strength has several ways of manifesting and is represented metaphysically by the disciple Andrew. So Peter represents faith, Andrew represents strength. Reverend Fillmore defines strength as the energy of God, freedom from weakness, stability of character, power to withstand temptation, capacity to accomplish. All those things are different ways that strength operates. The power of strength, as we said, is metaphysically represented by Andrew. In the mind of God, strength is an idea of enduring power, which to us means the continuous and sustained energies with which creation is projected and maintained. And that is written by Ella Pomeroy from Powers of the Soul and How to Use Them. So the key aspect of strength is that idea of maintained energy, energy that doesn't run out, the ability to last and continue until we've accomplished what we want to accomplish. Charles Fillmore said the strength discussed here is not physical strength alone, but mental and spiritual strength. All strength originates in spirit, and the thought and the word spiritually expressed bring the manifestation. So strength is physical, of course, but the important aspect of strength is that spiritual or mental strength, that energy that comes through us that never runs out because it is infinite. The source of it is infinite, God. So spiritual strength then is perseverance. And a great biblical passage that refers to how we acquire strength is Isaiah 40. And in Isaiah 40 it says, "Do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary." He will not grow tired or weary. God is that infinite source of energy. "His understanding is beyond searching out. He gives power to the faint and increases the strength of the weak." So sometimes we may feel faint or weak, but there's this infinite source, this everlasting source of energy that we can draw on, which of course is God. "Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who trust in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not become weary. They will walk and not faint." Those who trust in the Lord, in other words, those who turn to God as their source of strength, will not grow weary. They will find their strength continually renewed. So that's the key to strength. It never runs out. And the final spiritual power we'll look at today is judgment. Now, judgment is kind of a loaded word sometimes, and we're going to talk about the difference between race mind judgment and spiritual judgment. But the most important function of the spiritual power of judgment is determining what is good and true and what is error or evil and false. How do we tell the difference between the true and the false, the good and the not good or evil, if we can use that word? How do we know, in other words, when an idea that comes to us is an idea of truth or an idea of error? Well, it's this spiritual power of judgment that enables us to do that. In the Revealing Word, Charles Fillmore states that judgment is the mental act of evaluation through comparison or contrast, spiritual discernment, the inner voice through whose expression we come into a larger realization of ourselves, that inner voice, what we sometimes call that still small voice, which tells us the truth. That's judgment. That's the power of judgment operating in us. And by the way, the power of judgment is metaphysically represented in the Bible by the disciple James, the son of Zebedee. In Heart-Centered Metaphysics, Reverend Paul Hasselbeck further explains how we can understand the power of judgment in this way. He says the judgment faculty can be used in two ways. When we allow our sense consciousness or personalities to inform this faculty, its conclusions are erroneous and condemning. And sometimes we use the word judgment to mean to condemn. Well, judgment can be condemning when all that's informing our judgment is race consciousness, ideas that we've just picked up from humanity. When we allow our spiritual understanding, our individuality to inform this faculty, its conclusions are spirit-filled and safe. We no longer let collective or race standards or worldly wisdom have influence. We can clearly discriminate between good and evil through our divine inner intuition. And when intuition speaks to us, it's that power of judgment in operation. That's judgment that is the voice of that intuition. We see and evaluate people and events from a new perspective. So the key aspect of the spiritual power of judgment is that it's a form of divine guidance. It helps us in making decisions by empowering us to know what is truth and what isn't. I don't often use the New Living Translation of the Bible, but I really like the way this following verse is translated in it. And this is a verse we're all familiar with. In the New Living Translation, it says, "Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then You will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. And that really encapsulates the right functioning of that power of judgment. So these are the first 3 of the 12 powers in our series. Faith is the power that allows us to shape spiritual substance into the circumstances we desire. Strength is the power that empowers us to persevere in the manifestation of our desires. And judgment is the power that enables us to know for certain that we are using our faith and our strength to manifest God's perfect will for us. God bless you.
Thank you, Michael, for that wonderful message. Now comes a time when we offer our gifts and our tithes to our spiritual center, because we still have to operate and keep the doors semi-open while we work our way through this pandemic, and we certainly look forward to the day we can all come back in here. It's been quite a while now, and it might be a little bit longer. So we take our tithes and offerings, and I remind you that we have a pay tree. It's where you can pay, donate through Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, and of course you can always send in checks to P.O. Box 1661 in Florida, Texas, 78577. So we take our tithes, and together we say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
Everything I see, everything I do is blessed by your hand, God. I'll give it back to you. Everything I give, every thought that's true is magnified in kind, God. I'll give it back to you.
Before we close out today, I want to make one final announcement that I forgot to make earlier, and that is that we also have a YouTube channel. It's called Unity Rio Grande Valley, and I want to start directing you towards that on Sunday mornings because, as you know, last week the Facebook was cut off, and it's happened before, and they're making new changes now where we might get cut off more often. And when we did get cut off last week, I immediately went to YouTube and it was running. So that one seems to be more consistent about not being cut off. So just keep that in mind. And if something happens to this broadcast or the Facebook one, just rush on over to the YouTube channel, and it's Unity Rio Grande Valley. And pretty sure it's going to be working. Anyway, I want to thank you once again for being with us here today. And I'd like to close out with our prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.